It starts with one. You see a single ant crossing your kitchen counter, and you think little of it, and you brush it away. But that one ant was a scout, and he has found your kitchen good, and he has gone back to tell the others, and by tomorrow there is a line of them. A marching column streaming in from some crack you cannot find straight to the sugar or the crumbs or the sticky spot by the stove, and no matter how many you wipe away, more come. It is one of the most maddening troubles in a house, and folks spend good money on the sprays and the exterminators fighting it, and still the ants come back. But here is the thing the old people understood that most folks miss, and it is the whole key to truly winning. Killing the ants, you see, does almost nothing, for the trouble is not the ants on your counter. It is the nest you cannot see. Today, I'm going to show you 5 old ways to get rid of ants for good by dealing with the real problem, and not just the ants you see. I am Elias, and I keep up this Lancaster County place the old plain way. And out here, close to the fields and the soil, the ants will come into a house every summer if you let them. My grandmother fought them every year and taught me how with a few cheap things and a bit of patience, and I have never once had to call a man with a sprayer. Now the great secret before I give you the 5 ways is this. An ant you see is one of thousands you do not. For they live in a great colony in the ground with a queen laying eggs, and as long as that colony and that queen live, they will keep sending out more, no matter how many you kill in the kitchen. So, the whole aim of everything I will show you is either to keep them out or to reach past the ants you see and destroy the colony itself. Kill the colony and the trouble ends. Kill only the ants on the counter, and it never does. Keep that in your mind through all 5. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book at eliasyoda.com. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. I remember my grandmother's war with the ants as if it were a season of the year. For every summer they would come up through some crack by the old stone foundation, marching for the pantry. And I remember she never once panicked nor reached for anything harsh. She would watch them a while, tracing where they came and went with her eye. And then she would set her little dishes of sweet borax bait along their road and wipe her counters till there was not a crumb. And within the week, the marching line thinned and dwindled and was gone. She used to say to me, "Do not fight the ants you can see, Elias. Find the ones you cannot." It puzzled me as a boy, but I came to understand it was the whole of the matter. She was not fighting the ants on the counter at all. She was reaching through them to the nest in the ground. That patient, knowing way of hers is what I want to hand you now, for it works where all the frantic swatting and spraying never will. The first way, and it is the foundation of all the rest, is to give them nothing to come for. For an ant comes into your house for one reason, food, and most of all the sweet and the sticky. That scout I spoke of, he is searching for food, and if he finds none, he goes home, and no column follows. But if he finds so much as the sugar dried on the lip of a soda can, or a few crumbs, or a sticky ring where the honey jar sat, that is enough. He carries the news home, and the army comes. So, the first and greatest defense is plain cleanliness, giving them nothing to find. You keep your counters wiped clean of crumbs and sticky spots. You keep your sugar and your sweet things in tight, closed jars they cannot get into. You do not leave food sitting out, and here is one folks forget. You rinse your cans and bottles before you set them by. For the little bit of sweet soda or juice left in a can is a feast to an ant and draws them straight to your bin. Deny them the food, and you have solved half your ant trouble before you do another thing. For ants will not keep coming to a place that feeds them nothing. This is the old wisdom. Keep a clean kitchen and a tight pantry, and you give the ants no reason to come at all. Mind the small hidden sources too. The crumbs down in the toaster, the grease behind the stove, the drip under the honey jar, the pet's food dish left full on the floor overnight, the sticky spill dried in a cupboard. For the ants find these where we overlook them. Wipe up spills at once while they are fresh. Sweep the crumbs. Keep the sweet things sealed tight in glass or metal the ants cannot enter. And take the pet food up between meals. A house that offers an ant nothing is a house the ants soon give up on, for they are practical creatures and will not waste their labor on a barren place. This one habit of plain cleanliness, kept faithfully, prevents more ant trouble than all the sprays ever sold. The second way is for when they are already coming, and it is the best of all the ways to reach the colony you cannot see, and that is a borax bait. Now I have spoken of borax before, that old white mineral powder you buy cheap in the laundry aisle, and here is its finest use. You cannot follow every ant home to its nest, but you can let the ants carry your bait home for you, and this is the clever heart of it. You make a sweet bait mixed with a little borax, and you set it where the ants can find it. The ants drawn by the sweet eat it, and carry it back to the colony, and feed it to the others, and to the queen, and the borax, slow and quiet, does its work through the whole nest. That is why it works, where killing the ones you see does not. It reaches the colony through the ants themselves. Here is how you make it. You take 3 spoons of sugar and 1 spoon of borax, and mind that measure 3 of sugar to 1 of borax, for the sugar is what draws them, and you want plenty of it, and only a little borax, because if you put too much borax, the bait works too fast, and too strong, killing the ants before they can carry it home, and then it does not reach the colony at all. So, 3 sweets to 1 borax. You mix in just enough warm water to make it into a syrup, about the thickness of maple syrup, stirring it smooth. Then you soak it onto some cotton or put it in little shallow containers with holes for the ants to get in, and you set these where you have seen the ants traveling. Now the safety of it, and I will always tell you the safety plain, for it builds the trust between us. Borax is not something to be eaten, not by a child, nor a pet, nor anyone. And though it is a common, cheap household thing, it is not to be taken inside the body. So, when you set these baits, you set them where no child and no animal can get at them, up out of reach or closed in containers with only small holes the ants can enter, well away from where little ones or the dog or cat might find them and taste the sweet. Label them if there is any doubt. Kept away from the children and the pets, the borax bait is one of the finest and cheapest ant remedies there is, but that safety is not to be skipped, and you must be patient with it, for it is meant to be slow. That is the whole point. You want the ants coming and going freely, carrying it home over a few days, so do not be discouraged to see ants still at the bait. That is it working. Give it a few days and you will see the whole trouble dwindle away as the colony dies from within. A few practical notes on the placing of it. You set the baits right along the trails where the ants are already traveling and near where they come in, so they find them quickly, and you can set several about rather than just one. Do not clean away the ants' trails while the bait is working, for you want them following their roads right to it and back home again. So, leave the trails until the colony is dead. And if you find the ants are ignoring your bait, it is most often one of 2 things. Either there is too much borax, and it is putting them off, so make a fresh, sweeter batch with less borax, or there is other food about drawing them instead. So, clean better and take away their other choices, so your bait is the sweetest thing they can find. And you may try a bit of a different bait for different ants, for some ants want the sweet, and some in certain seasons want grease or fat. So if a sweet bait fails, you can try mixing the borax into a little grease or peanut butter instead. Patience and a little adjusting, and the bait will clear them. The third way is to go after the colony directly when you can find it. For if you can find where they are nesting, you can end the whole thing at the source. Now often the nest is outside, in the yard or by the foundation, and the ants are traveling in through a crack. To find it, you follow them home. If there is a line of ants, you simply follow it, slow and patient, back the way they came, out to where they are disappearing into the ground or the wall, and there is your colony. If you have trouble seeing which way a lone ant is headed, a little spray of vinegar near it will usually turn it back toward home, and you can follow it from there. Once you have found the nest, an access hole in the ground, or a spot in the soil where they stream in and out, you have a few plain old ways to destroy it. The gentlest is plain water, and a great deal of it. You run your garden hose to the nest and let it flood the ground there a good 10 minutes, soaking the soil deep drowning and driving out the colony. And you do this each day until you see no more activity. It harms nothing in your yard, no poison at all, just water. And done faithfully day after day, it drives the colony out or destroys it. That is the safest way, if a slow one. Now there is a stronger way, and it is boiling water. An old and effective method, but one that wants real care, so heed the safety here. You boil a good pot of water on the stove, and you can make it stronger by mixing in a good deal of cayenne pepper or vinegar if you have no cayenne, though the boiling water is the main of it. Then, and this is where the care comes, you carry that pot of boiling water out to the nest. And boiling water is a dangerous thing to carry, so you wear oven mitts. You have someone open the doors for you so your hands stay on the pot and you go slow and careful. For a slip and a splash of boiling water is a bad scald. You pour it slow into the nest holes and where you see the ants, and the boiling water kills them on contact and washes down into the nest. Mind you, keep it off the garden plants you want to keep, for boiling water will kill whatever it touches. And mind above all your own safety carrying it. Done carefully, a pot or two of boiling water into the nest holes is a swift and cheap end to a colony. The fourth way is a clever old trick for protecting a table of food outdoors, at a picnic or a gathering, from the ants that would swarm it. And it is the picnic moat. Ants cannot cross water, so you make a little water barrier they cannot pass. You take 4 containers, tins or dishes or cups, and you set each leg of your table down into one, and you fill each with a little water. Now the only way up to your food is up those legs, and the legs stand in water the ants cannot cross. So they are stopped cold at the bottom and cannot reach the table at all. Your food sits safe on its little island. It is a simple, harmless, clever thing, and it saves many a picnic or an outdoor meal from being overrun. You can do the same to protect anything standing on legs that you want to keep the ants off. A pet's food dish, a table, a stand. Set its feet in water, and the ants cannot climb to it. It is a fine trick for a pet's food bowl, especially which draws the ants so. For set the bowl inside a shallow dish of water, and the food stays clean of them. And there are dry barriers that work on the same idea indoors. A line of a thing the ants will not cross laid across their path. A chalk line, a line of cinnamon, of ground pepper, of that soft white mineral earth folks called diatomaceous earth. Any of which an ant is loath to cross, drawn across a threshold or a windowsill where they enter. It is not so sure as the water moat, but it will turn many of them and is worth a try across a doorway they favor. The fifth way is the finishing step, the one that keeps them from coming back after you have dealt with them, and it is erasing their trail. For here is a thing about ants you must understand. When an ant travels, he lays down a scent behind him, an invisible trail, so that the others can follow the same path to the food. That is why they march in a line. They are all following the scent trail the first ones laid. So even after you have baited and destroyed the colony, if you leave those scent trails in your house, they act as a map leading any new ants straight along the old paths. So you wipe them out. You take that same vinegar and water, half and half, with a few drops of dish soap in it in a spray bottle, and you wipe down all the places the ants were traveling. The baseboards, the counters, the windowsills, the door frames, the cracks they came through, washing away the scent trail so there is no map left to follow. The vinegar cuts the scent and erases the path. This is why when you wipe an ant trail with plain water, the ants often come right back along the same line, for the water does not truly break the scent, but the vinegar does, cutting it so the followers lose the road. Get right down into the cracks and along the baseboards and around the door and window frames where they entered, for that is where the scent is laid thickest. And once you have wiped the trails and closed up the cracks they used with a bit of cork or filling where you can, you have not only killed the colony, but shut and erased the road, so that even a new scout finds no easy way in and no trail to follow. That is how you make it last, rather than fighting the same ants up the same crack every summer. Do this after you have dealt with the colony, not before, for you want the ants freely carrying your bait home first. But once the colony is done, erase every trail and you close the door behind them. And a plain safety word. That vinegar spray is all you need, but never you mix vinegar with bleach thinking to make it stronger, for the two together make a dangerous gas. The plain vinegar and water does the job. So, let me say a small plain word about the fighting of ants, not a who profits sermon. For the ant is no one scheme, only a plain trouble of summer. But there is a lesson in it. Folks spend a great deal on the sprays that kill the ants they see, and on the men who come to spray. And much of that money is wasted because killing the ants you see is the one thing that does not solve the trouble. The spray kills the scouts on the counter, and you feel you have done something. But the colony sits untouched in the ground, sending out more, and back they come, and you buy more spray. The old cheap way, the bait carried home and the colony destroyed at its source, actually ends the trouble, but it is patient and quiet and sells nobody a bottle. So the quick spray that does not truly work gets sold, and the slow cheap way that does work gets forgotten, not by anyone's scheme, just by the plain way the money runs. The old people had no exterminator to call. They ended their ant troubles with sugar and borax and boiling water and patience, and so can you. So there are the 5 old ways to be rid of ants for good. First, give them nothing. Keep a clean kitchen and a tight pantry, and rinse your cans so no scout ever brings the army. Second, set the borax and sugar bait kept safe from children and pets, and let the ants carry it home to kill the colony from within. Third, find the nest by following them home, and destroy it with flooding water or carefully with boiling water. Fourth, set your outdoor table legs in water to make a moat they cannot cross. And fifth, erase their scent trails with vinegar and water, so none can follow the old paths back. Do these in patience, and you will not just scatter the ants you see, you will end the trouble at its root cheaply and cleanly, the way the old people did. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me down below, what sort of ants trouble you? The little sugar ants in the kitchen, or the big ones, and whether you have tried the borax bait, and how it went. And tell me your county and the age of your house, for the old houses with their many cracks let the ants in far easier than the tight new ones. And I like to know where you all write from. I read every one. Next time, I want to show you the many old uses for baking soda about the house, that other cheap white powder that sits in near every kitchen. For like the vinegar, it does a dozen jobs most folks never think of, from the cleaning to the freshening to a few tricks that will surprise you. The old people kept the ants and the pests out of their homes with a few cheap things, and a great deal of patience and the knowing of how the creatures live, reaching past the trouble they could see to the root they could not. There is a quiet wisdom in solving a thing at its source rather than swatting forever at what it throws up in front of you. The people who built this country with their hands knew that, and we are only just starting to remember it.